Have you ever considered that the very thing you believe keeps you safe might actually be a prison holding you back from your greatest potential? Every day, millions of people around the world wake up carrying the heavy weight of anxiety, convinced that constant mental vigilance will somehow protect them from life's uncertainties. What most don't realize is this: living in continual worry doesn't just drain your mind. It actively blocks the extraordinary abilities that lie dormant within you. Every moment you're trapped in anxious thoughts, your energy scatters, your focus fractures, and your connection to the endless possibilities around you weakens. While your nervous system stays locked in survival mode, constantly scanning for threats that may never come, your true creative power remains untouched. But what happens when you finally release that tight grip? What shifts when you stop trying to control every outcome and, instead, surrender to the natural intelligence of the universe? Something remarkable begins to unfold. The scattered pieces of your energy line up. Your mind clears. Suddenly, you gain access to states of being that most would call supernatural. This isn't about becoming passive or abandoning your dreams. It's about discovering a completely different way to create your reality. A way that flows from trust instead of fear, alignment instead of resistance. When you understand what it really means to surrender to the universe while holding a clear intention, you unlock abilities that stretch far beyond what your analytical mind believes is possible. Today, we'll explore how letting go of worry and embracing surrender can literally transform your biology, your energy field, and your entire experience of life. You're about to discover that the path to the supernatural begins not by doing more, but by releasing. Before we go deeper, subscribe to the channel. And if you're ready to break free from the grip of anxiety and step into the extraordinary being you were always meant to be, say it with me: I surrender to my infinite potential. Have you noticed how a single anxious thought can spiral into hours of mental torture? This isn't just psychological. It's an energetic reality that affects every cell in your body. When your mind is preoccupied with worry, you're actually programming your nervous system to remain in chronic stress, triggering a chain of biological reactions that trap you in limitation. Your body doesn't distinguish between real danger and imagined threats. Whether you're facing a true emergency or replaying worst-case scenarios in your head, your system responds the same way. Stress hormones flood your bloodstream, your heart rate climbs, and your energy locks into survival. In that state, the higher brain centers responsible for creativity, intuition, and expanded awareness get suppressed. This constant alertness creates what researchers call an addiction to stress. Your body becomes so accustomed to fear-based chemistry that it begins to crave those familiar stress hormones. Unconsciously, you start looking for reasons to worry because your system is addicted to that limited way of operating. When energy is trapped in survival patterns, it can't flow through your body's natural energy centers. Imagine a river clogged with debris. The water backs up, grows stagnant, and loses its life-giving qualities. Your creative life force gets stuck in the lower survival centers and can't rise to activate your higher potentials. This energetic blockage doesn't just shape your inner state, it influences what you draw into your life. When your energy signature broadcasts fear and worry, you become a magnet for circumstances that match that frequency. You literally pull in the very experiences you're trying to avoid. The most deceptive thing about chronic anxiety is that it tricks you into believing your mental activity is productive. Your mind convinces you that constantly thinking about problems is moving you toward solutions. But worry doesn't solve. It creates problems. It spins you in circles, generating the same limited thoughts that created your challenges in the first place. Escaping this loop begins when you recognize that worry doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. Every moment spent in anxious thinking is a moment stolen from your creative potential. A moment when you could be aligning with the infinite intelligence that wants to work through you. Where does creation actually happen? Not in yesterday's memories or tomorrow's predictions, but here, now, in the eternal present where infinite possibility meets your conscious awareness. And yet most people spend their lives mentally absent from the only moment that holds any power to change. When your attention drifts into future fears, you're not just mentally elsewhere, you relocate energetically. Your life force scatters across imaginary timelines, leaving you exhausted and disconnected from your real creative abilities. Likewise, when you cling to past regrets or resentments, you miss the opportunities available in the present while trying to fix what no longer exists. The present isn't an empty gap between your past and your future. It's the fertile ground where all manifestation takes root. It's where your thoughts meet your feelings, your intentions align with universal intelligence, and the quantum field responds to your energetic signature. You can only access this creative power when you're fully here, engaged with what is. Why do all spiritual traditions emphasize being present? Because they understood that the present moment is the meeting place between the physical and the non-physical. When you are truly here, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, you become a conscious participant in life's creative process. Your anxious mind keeps insisting you must constantly plan, analyze, and prepare for every possible scenario. But that mental activity traps you in limitation, because you're trying to create from the same level of consciousness that produced your current conditions. Real transformation happens when you step out of mental time and into the timeless awareness of now. In this space, you have access to wisdom that surpasses the analytical mind. From stillness, subtle guidance emerges. You can feel the natural flow of life, moving you toward your highest good. None of this is available when your attention is split between past regrets and future fears. The invitation is simple, but profound. Return to now, again and again, until presence becomes your natural state. What happens when you finally stop trying to control every aspect of your life experience? Many people fear that surrender means giving up or becoming passive. But true surrender is one of the most powerful stances you can take. It's the moment you align your personal will with a greater intelligence, the same intelligence that spins galaxies, orchestrates the growth of every living thing, and maintains perfect order across the cosmos. Surrender doesn't mean abandoning your dreams or desires. It means releasing your attachment to how they must happen. When you cling to specific outcomes, you force the universe to operate within the narrow limits of your imagination. But when you keep clarity about what you want and surrender the how, you open yourself to possibilities far beyond what your mind could design. As you shift from the ego's limited perspective to the limitless perspective of universal intelligence, higher states of consciousness become available. The ego believes it must figure everything out, control every variable, and force results through willpower. But that approach only gives you access to what you already know and have experienced, what fits within your current level of awareness. The moment you hand over control, something extraordinary happens. You begin receiving insights that seem to come from beyond your normal thinking process. Solutions appear that reasoning alone could never reach. Opportunities arise with perfect timing. People and circumstances align in ways that may look like magic, but are simply the natural outcome of working in harmony with life's intelligence. This shift happens because surrender moves you from acting through your analytical mind to moving with your intuitive awareness. The analytical mind works only with information from the past, recombining the known into familiar patterns. Intuitive awareness, however, accesses information from the realm of infinite potential, wisdom that exists beyond time and space. When you surrender, you don't give up your creative power. You gain access to a much greater level of it, one you may not have known you possessed. You become a conscious collaborator with the force that moves planets, grows flowers, heals wounds, and inspires groundbreaking innovations. That intelligence doesn't need your worry or your strain to produce results. It needs your trust, your openness, and your willingness to receive. History's most successful people understood this principle. They learned to work with life rather than against it, to flow with circumstances rather than resist them, and to trust a mind greater than their own. What turns a desire from a mere wish into lived reality? The invisible bridge is trust. Not a passive hope that things might work out, but an active knowing that they already are, in ways you can't yet see. Trust operates at a frequency that draws manifestation. When you truly trust, your energy shifts from need and desperation to confidence and receptivity. That energetic change signals to the universe that you're ready to receive what you've asked for. Doubt and fear create resistance in your field, making it harder for desired experiences to reach you. Trust clears the channel so manifestation can flow with ease. Many people confuse trust with blind faith or wishful thinking. Authentic trust is grounded in understanding how life works. Look at nature. Do you see chaos and randomness, or an underlying order and intelligence? The same force that makes flowers bloom in spring and guides birds to migrate responds to clear intentions that are supported by genuine trust. Trust also transforms your relationship with time. When you're moving in doubt, every delay feels like proof that your desires aren't coming. You grow impatient, worry, and try to force outcomes through effort and struggle. When you trust, you recognize timing as part of the intelligence at work. What looks like a delay may be life arranging conditions in ways that exceed your expectations. The deepest level of trust comes from realizing the universe isn't neutral. It leans toward your highest good. That doesn't mean life is always comfortable or easy. It means every experience ultimately serves your growth and evolution. When you trust in this fundamental benevolence, you relax into life's current instead of swimming against it. Trust isn't something you either have or don't have. It's something you build through practice. Each time you choose trust over worry and surrender control over outcomes, you strengthen that bridge and make manifestation more natural and effortless. The bridge between ancient wisdom and modern science has never been clearer than it is now. When you change your inner state, your thoughts, feelings, and energy, you don't just alter your subjective experience. You literally rewrite the biological programs that govern your body and shape how you interact with the world. Every thought you think triggers a chemical reaction in your brain. Repeating the same thoughts reinforces certain neural pathways while weakening others. That's neuroplasticity. Your brain physically reshapes itself around your mental patterns. What many don't realize is that this process works both ways. Just as negative thought loops can flood you with stress chemistry and trap you in limitation, elevated thoughts and feelings can generate biochemistry that enhances your health, clarity, and creative abilities. Research associated with Joe Dispenza shows that when you consciously choose thoughts that generate gratitude, joy, or love, you essentially become your own pharmacy, producing the inner chemistry of the future you desire. This isn't positive thinking. It's biological transformation through conscious intent. Your emotional state is equally powerful. Emotions are energy in motion. They carry information throughout your body via the nervous, immune, and endocrine systems. When you sustain elevated emotions, you train your body to experience the future you want before it arrives in your outer world. This insight revolutionizes personal change. Instead of waiting for external conditions to improve before you feel better, you realize that feeling better first is what catalyzes the change in conditions. You're not a victim of your genes or your past. You are the conscious architect of your biological expression. And the deepest aspect of this transformation extends beyond the physical body. When you change your inner chemistry, you also change your electromagnetic field, the energetic signature you broadcast to the world. That field carries information that influences how people respond to you, which opportunities appear, and what synchronicities begin to unfold. Science is confirming what spiritual traditions have taught for millennia. You have the power to transform yourself from the inside out. The difference now is that we understand the mechanisms, so the process becomes more deliberate and repeatable. The key insight is that your personality creates your personal reality. Your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. To create a new reality, you literally have to become a new person in mind, body, and emotion. This isn't about changing your core essence. It's about releasing the automatic, limiting patterns, and consciously choosing who you intend to be. When you see that each moment is an opportunity to install new programming, transformation stops being mysterious and becomes a practical skill you can develop. Beyond the solid world your senses perceive lies a realm where the rules are far more fluid and responsive to consciousness. Quantum physics reveals that, at the subatomic level, particles exist as pure potential until observation collapses them into specific realities. This discovery implies something extraordinary. Consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining what becomes real. The quantum field isn't empty. It's an infinite field of potential energy from which all matter and all possibilities emerge. Every outcome you could desire already exists in this field as pure potential, waiting for the right conditions to collapse into your lived experience. So the question becomes, how do you create the conditions that allow the possibilities you want to appear? The answer lies in understanding that you aren't separate from the field. You are an expression of it. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs generate a specific energetic signature that resonates with some possibilities while repelling others. When you operate from fear, worry, and limitation, you stay stuck in familiar patterns because you broadcast a signal that only draws more of what you already know. But when you move into elevated emotions, when you feel genuine gratitude, love, or excitement for possibilities that haven't yet materialized, you begin to transmit a different signal. Instead of recycling the past, you resonate with potential futures that match that higher state. That's why surrender is so powerful in the process of manifestation. When you release your attachment to how things must unfold, you stop collapsing infinite possibilities into the limited scenarios your mind can imagine. You allow the field to arrange conditions in ways that surprise and delight you. The field responds to authenticity, not manipulation. You can't fake the emotional states that draw manifestation. Your energy signature must genuinely match what you're calling in. That's why gratitude is such a potent practice. When you truly feel thankful for what's coming, before it arrives, you align your energy with receiving rather than with wanting. You don't need to be a scientist to grasp quantum principles, but they do expand your sense of what's possible. When you realize reality is far more malleable than it appears, you stop confining yourself to what seems reasonable or likely and begin entertaining what once felt impossible, if it aligns with your deepest inner knowing. The field is always listening, always responding to the signals you broadcast. The question isn't whether manifestation works. It's whether you're guiding the process consciously or creating by default. So how do you break free from anxiety when it feels like an automatic reaction to life's uncertainty? The key is to cultivate simple practices that shift your energy from anxiety to presence, from resistance to flow. These aren't complicated techniques that take years to master. They're accessible tools you can use the moment worry starts to take over. Conscious breathing is your quickest gateway back to the present. When anxiety arises, your breath typically becomes shallow and restricted. By deliberately deepening your inhale and extending your exhale, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system and signal your body that it's safe to relax. Just 3 deep breaths can move you from stress chemistry to calm chemistry. Thought tracking matters because most worry happens unconsciously. Throughout the day, notice when your mind drifts into anxious scenarios. You don't have to fight those thoughts or judge yourself for having them. Simply observe them with curious awareness. That observation alone begins to weaken their grip on your attention. Short periods of meditation, even 5 minutes, can reset your entire energetic state. Find a quiet place, close your eyes, and focus on the sensation of breathing while allowing thoughts to pass without attachment. This practice trains your mind to observe rather than react, creating space between you and your anxious thinking. Physical movement helps discharge the stress energy anxiety generates in the body. Whether it's a walk in nature, gentle stretching, or dancing to music you love, movement circulates stagnant energy and reconnects you with your natural vitality. A gratitude practice shifts your focus from what might go wrong to what is already going right. When you genuinely feel grateful for the goodness in your life, you generate an elevated emotion that dissolves worry and opens you to receive more of what you value. The goal isn't to never have anxious thoughts. It's to catch them quickly and redirect your energy before they harden into prolonged anxiety. With consistent practice, that redirection becomes more automatic, and you spend more time in states that support your health and creative power. One of the most potent states for accessing your supernatural capacities arises when your heart and brain move into synchronized harmony. This isn't just a poetic idea. It's a measurable physiological condition in which your heart rhythm becomes coherent and your brain waves align with that coherent frequency, creating optimal conditions for transformation and manifestation. Your heart generates a powerful electromagnetic field, stronger than the brain's field. When you consciously cultivate feelings like gratitude, compassion, or love, your heart rhythm shifts from jagged, erratic patterns into smooth, sine wave-like coherence. That coherent rhythm then influences the brain, synchronizing neural activity with that elevated emotional state. Research associated with Joe Dispenza shows that heart-brain coherence is like tuning your inner radio to receive higher frequencies of information and possibility. In this state, you gain access to intuition, creativity, and cognition that surpass ordinary thinking. You literally become smarter, more intuitive, and more able to receive guidance from your deeper wisdom. The beauty of heart-brain coherence is that you can learn to create it on purpose. By placing your attention in the center of your chest and intentionally generating feelings of gratitude or appreciation, you can move into coherence within minutes. This isn't about thinking grateful thoughts. It's about truly feeling gratitude in your body until it becomes your authentic state. Sustain coherence for longer periods, and you'll see remarkable changes in your biology. Stress hormones drop, beneficial hormones rise, and your immune system strengthens. Most importantly, your energy field becomes magnetic to experiences that match this elevated state. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and conditions that reflect who you're becoming rather than who you've been. Coherence also amplifies your ability to send clear intentions into the quantum field. When your heart and brain are working together instead of in conflict, your intentions carry more power and clarity. The universe receives a clean signal about what you're calling in, rather than the mixed messages produced by anxiety and doubt. Practicing heart-brain coherence throughout the day transforms how you move through the world. Instead of reacting from stress and survival, you respond from calm confidence and creative flow. Challenges become opportunities to grow rather than threats to your well-being. The key is consistency. Take brief moments during the day to reconnect with coherence until it becomes your natural baseline. Each time you choose appreciation over frustration, love over fear, or trust over worry, you strengthen this harmonious state and make it easier to access when you need it most. One of the most counterintuitive principles of manifestation reveals itself when you finally understand that trying to control outcomes actually blocks what you desire. The logical mind insists that more effort, more planning, and tighter control will guarantee better results. In the realm of consciousness and energy, the opposite is true. When you cling to specific outcomes, you create energetic resistance that impedes the natural flow of abundance coming your way. Desperation sends a signal of lack to the universe and attracts more experiences of wanting rather than having. But when you hold your intentions lightly and surrender the details of how they'll unfold, you create space for miracles. This isn't passivity or abandoning your goals. It's learning to work with life's intelligence instead of against it. You plant the seed of intention with clarity, then trust the growth process. Just as a gardener doesn't dig up seeds every day to check progress. The universe operates through an intelligence that perceives possibilities and pathways your individual mind can't yet see. When you surrender control, you're essentially saying, "I trust this will turn out better than I can imagine." That openness allows solutions to arrive from unexpected directions. Think about the best things that have happened in your life. Were they the result of forcing and controlling? Or did they seem to flow naturally when you were open and trusting? Most people discover that their greatest opportunities, relationships, and breakthroughs came when they stopped pushing and started allowing. The art of letting go while maintaining clear intention develops over time. You learn to tell the difference between inspired action that feels coherent and forced action driven by anxiety. You begin to recognize the line between planning that supports your goals and controlling that chokes possibility. Master this paradox, and life becomes a dance of co-creation. You bring your unique gifts and awareness, while universal intelligence orchestrates the conditions. Together, you produce outcomes far beyond what either could achieve alone. The journey from anxiety to the supernatural begins with a single realization. The thoughts you believe are protecting you are the very bars keeping you from your greatest possibilities. Every moment trapped in anxious loops is a moment taken from the extraordinary life, waiting for your permission to emerge. Becoming supernatural isn't about developing magical powers or transcending your humanity. It's about remembering and reclaiming your birthright, the capacity to create consciously, to manifest intentionally, and to live in harmony with the intelligent universe that surrounds and supports you. When you finally set down the exhausting burden of trying to control every outcome, and instead learn to surrender with trust, something remarkable happens. Your energy stops scattering and becomes a powerful force for creation. Your nervous system shifts from survival to growth. Your heart and brain align in coherent harmony, opening channels of wisdom and intuition that guide you toward your highest good. The quantum field of infinite possibilities doesn't respond to your desperation or your struggle. It responds to your authentic alignment with higher states of being. When you consistently choose gratitude over complaint, trust over worry, and love over fear, you begin broadcasting a signal that draws in experiences matching those elevated frequencies. This transformation requires practice, patience, and a willingness to question what you've been taught about how life works. You must be willing to feel the emotions of your desired future before it arrives. You must learn to trust life's timing, even when it doesn't match your preferences. You must hold a clear intention for who you are becoming, while surrendering the illusion of control. What makes this journey worthwhile is that every step towards surrender and trust not only transforms your life, it contributes to the awakening of human consciousness. By demonstrating that another way of living is possible, you give others permission to explore these possibilities for themselves. The universe isn't asking you to struggle or suffer your way into transformation. It's inviting you to relax into the natural flow of creation, and to remember that you are both the artist and the canvas, both the dreamer and the dream. Your supernatural life isn't a distant target. It's available right now, in this moment, through one simple act of letting go. Yeah,